where do we go from here?
Certain point, their minds ain't ready to be Obama.
Are we going to hear that Sunday?
We might.
Get ready to sauce it up this Sunday, 10:30 a.m. Good morning, and welcome to another edition of At Bishop's Desk. I'm your host, Elder Bryan Lomax. Today we're going to be talking about mental health and the impact that it has on the church and what we can do as a church to help out versus what the world's plan is when it comes to dealing with this issue. Good morning.
Good morning, Elder Bryan. Yes, that's another dramatic situation that we have traveling among humanity. And, it's very devastating. It's very concerning as far as we are being children of Elohim, God, creator, sustainer. There's so many avenues that people see that has been put out there for them to travel to deal with it. But as believers, along with all of the assigned medications and scientific side of it, we have to deal with it also by involving God in it, because everything we have belongs to Him. Mm-hmm. Even if we put medicine together, we're using what He put on this earth. And when He said in the book of Genesis, chapter 1, when He put all the vegetations, everything here. So when we put stuff together, we have to make sure that we involve God in it to make up the difference. Just like the little boy with the fish and bread, when he had to feed all those people, he put God in the mix of it to make sure God made up the difference. So if we're not careful, we'll fail to put Him in there. We'll try to do this all on our own, and we need Him involved in all that we do. The church can do it by praying and seeking the help of God for each case, each situation, because each case could be different or similar. So we have to involve Him in it, and we have to believe that He's available to work, that He's able to work in the midst of what we put together. It might not be perfect, but He is perfect. Just for example, we breathe air. With all of the stuff that's into the air and the atmosphere now and the environments, we don't know what's in there, but we are trusting God when we inhale and exhale to sort out and keep our bodies from all of the debris that is invisible in the air. Mm-hmm. So going back to this, God made this body. He knows all about it, so He knows what we do to try to help fix it. Then if we invite Him in to make the difference up, we can really, really be somewhat successful in dealing with some of this stuff.
Mm-hmm. You hit a key word. You said involving God. Mm-hmm. So back in the days, we really didn't hear too much of mental health issues. It's just now we hear about it. Mm-hmm. And I'm not, someone watching may get upset, and I'm not misdiagnosing people, but I feel like some people are using that as an excuse to do what it is that they feel like they can do and get away with it. That's my opinion. I could be wrong. But families, the structure of families, or what the structure of families used to be 20 or 30 years ago. You don't have dad in the home like you had dad in the home back then. You didn't have anybody to sit down. How many families actually sit down as a family eat dinner anymore?
And pray together.
And pray together.
And study the scriptures together.
Exactly.
Awesome. But yes, getting back to what you said, there are a lot of players that take the weaknesses, whatever it is going on with humanity, and they use that to play on humanity. And in many cases, they use that to get away with things that they did that they know better, but they do it and they play the game. And some people are very awesome at playing the games, There are various types of illnesses that people use it and they play the game. They're so dramatic with it, and then they're able to get all kinds of social helps and disabilities and get away with this and that, and that's why we said involve God in it, because whether we acknowledge this or not, and people acknowledge this or not, there's two energies battling each other. There is the dark side. I'm going to use that kind of language. There's the dark side and there's the light side. The dark side is the evil side. The light side is God's side. So we have to understand and involve God in it, because He knows every heart. He scans every heart. He knows what is legitimate and he knows what is not legitimate. He knows what is legitimate and illegitimate. So there are people who will come out and do things that they know what they did. And so what they do is they play on some of the weaknesses of how we look at things in society. And in many cases, they're subject to get away with it. So there's a pandemic of evil movement in the earth right now. There's a darkness that's capturing people. You know, you can have people that are legitimate and having certain physical elements with them, but they got other people who can put on a show and get away with it, and you can't prove it. No matter how deep you try to prove it, in many cases, and even when you prove it, they're able to dramatize to the point to get away with it. So that's why we suggest in all situations involve God in it, because people might get away with one thing, but like you was asking about, pretending that what they did was because of something going wrong with their brain, but it's not true. It's their way of getting away with doing what they want to do. But there is a judgment day. There is a God that sees all. And a lot of people think that is false, but it is true. A lot of people think God is love and that there's no punishment when it comes to deliberately things that we just do because of who governs our souls and our minds and our choices. So there's a whole bunch of things that we need to pause on this earth. We as Christians go to that Bible and pray scriptures for them and ask God to work. Because if God can populate the sky, if God can let rain come and then all of the once in the midst of it, change it to snowflakes, just simple things that we feel. We can't explain all of God's stuff. We feel like we can explain the thoroughness and the completeness of God. God is beyond how we can explain it. There's no conclusion as to who he is until humanity comes back to that and stop getting upset when people bring in God into our situation. It's going to get worse. It's going to get worse. When we involve God in our situations, they get better. There have been situations like I know, at least around where I grew up, I wasn't really born then, but the history came to me in World War II. They was praying for the war to end because too many humans were losing their lives, and somehow or another it worked out. Whether people look at it, they can see it or not. And the reason I said that is because 2 Corinthians, the 4th chapter, unless God shines his light into our hearts and scatters the darkness out of us so we can see correctly. You see what I'm saying, Elder Bryan? We will never see, we'll see this stuff through the ways of the world. And that's how we got stuff. Oh, you shouldn't have said this right here. And what you said to them is true. And it might be 1 year, it might be one day. They come back. I've had this happen. They come back to me, you know what, Bishop, what you told me was true, but I couldn't see it at the time. Well, if I can't see something and somebody that can see it and leading me and got light, why if I'm blind, right, and you say I'm going to lead you between these pews and this piano and this organ here, well, I'm going to say you lead me wrong. I can't see.
Right.
Until we come back home to God as humans, it's going to get worse on this earth because we think we can explain everything. We think we just can have information about God, behave any kind of way we want to, and put anything in these bodies that causes us to have all these types of illnesses that we have. And then we might be okay in our body, but we might birth children and what we have in our bodies because we put all kinds of stuff in it physically in our bodies and mentally and spiritually. It affects the children and when they were born. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, it's. Would you say that there's a spirit out here that's telling people to do whatever they want to do and get away with it?
Yes, sir.
Just as long as they have the freedom to express
themselves. All of this is going on. And it's very, very, very sad that we can inhale and exhale the air that comes from Elohim, God, creator, sustainer, and be rude to him and how we see him and see each other. And that causes a lot of problems. Some people can't deal with this because they haven't been founded correctly. If I don't teach my children how to covenant with God and support the one that let us inhale and exhale, to put the stuff in us, to when we bless our food, we don't know what is part of our food that we eat. For example, this might sound crazy, and I'm not a scientist, but I shared with people one day, I say, when I was growing up down south, I watched the cows go and eat the grass. I don't know what was on the grass. I don't know what happened to the grass, but the milk came out of the cow, and I drank the milk. Simple things that we have become so intelligently dumb that we don't pay no attention to. We didn't have all this these processes back when I was growing up. They would get the milk out of the cow, fix a little bit of it, give it to you to drink, and we trusted God. We survived. And so now we got more stuff in the earth that when the animals goes out and eat the grains and whatever we produce, we don't know what's in all of that, the fertilizer in the food, the insecticides that's on the vegetables, we don't wash them correctly. All of that goes into our bodies, and who takes care of us? God. And until man come back to God, it's going to get worse. When man start rebuking God, because there are people sharing who God is, and they start rebuking that person, they're rebuking God. If we tell somebody, don't put this in your body, and it's harmful to them, and it's going to get down the road, it's going to be devastating to them, and they rebuke you and click on you and go off on you, get on the late night news and the early morning news, the evening international news, and run you down, cut you off on the medias and all of that, it's going to come back. There is a judgment day for humanity. Go ahead, sir.
I was agreeing with what you were saying because of that, because of that rebellion, people are turning away from the truth. It's kind of like they're doing what makes them feel comfortable.
Yeah, blinded by the ways of the world.
Exactly. When you do what makes you feel comfortable, there are consequences.
Yes, sir.
If you're not thoroughly looking at what it is that you're doing.
You're right.
You got it to where I remember a parent could spank their child. Now the society has frowned on that so much. You know what I mean? Where first thing they want to do, and I'm not against if a child genuinely needs to be on medication, they do.
Right.
But it seems like that's the first thing they want to do is medicate this child. Right? So it's kind of like what happens when you run out of medication and that child gets out of control.
Or that child get addicted to the medication. When we was children growing up, I can't say, I don't know, but I do know in the community where we live, in the schools we went to, there was a integrity, a decent way on how they discipline a child, and we didn't have our prisons and our children killing each other, children having children when they're not even adults yet. We didn't have all of this because we left God out of it. And a part of that is, how can, I'm going to just do the Christian ranks, regardless of denomination, just the Christian ranks. How can we go to the church building and sing Amazing Grace, in God I trust, God, what a friend we have in God. Sing all those songs, what a friend we have in Jesus, all those songs, when God tells us in the Bible, spare the rod, spoil the child. He doesn't mean go out there and beat your child and kill your child. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I got spanked. Look at me. Look. I mean, I can't find a place on me where my father, but it helped me to stay out of trouble. It got the dark sideness that was about to manifest in me out of me because it was love. And now we try to do this thing, all this without involving God. Goes right back to the opening statement we made. When we leave God out of all of what we're doing on this earth, it's getting worse. And it's going to get worse until people realize everything we have. This body don't belong to me. This is where I live at. This is the body I walk around in to represent Him. This doesn't belong to you. This building don't belong to us. This is not First Samuel. We have stewardship over it. We have, according to the society of mankind, we have the deeds to it, but the deeds, internal deeds, belong to God. Suppose God take all the humans off this earth, who put some other kind of beings here. It's still His. You see what I'm saying? So we got all this going on until we come back to God. A lot of these illnesses, I don't know about other people, but part of my prayer life, and I encourage people around me to pray for mankind, pray for what we're facing, pray for bad choices that people are making that affects all of us. You see what I'm saying? Pray for the politics that causes a lot of our problems, because if you're one type of person and I'm another type of person, and you got certain parts of the puzzle for the betterment of humanity, why I want to just say you don't know what you're talking about instead of putting the pieces together to help all of mankind. We all got a piece of the puzzle to make mankind better, from mental health to whatever it is. Why don't we come back home to God, Elohim creating, set it, and put it together and stop? Well, they said this and they said that. I don't know about this. It's sad, Elder Bryan, when somebody come up with a halfway good plan, but another person come along and say, that don't work, I wouldn't do that. Well, tell me what you do. but you ain't got nothing. You ain't got nothing better. You ain't got nothing to offer.
Just to talk against it.
That's another form of mental stability to me. When you just talking off the top of your head, when you fight everything, how can we as humans, as Christians, I'm just going to do the religions of Christianity that I'm a part of. How can we say we love God and we behave because we don't like a person? We shut down everything, and it affects the old ladies and the old men, the elders, the little babies, all of these people who are crippled and hurting. I don't care as long as I have my way. That's another form of this bad habit we got on this earth. We got some severe, bad, ungodly habits that the enemy has put false lenses in how we see things. I had a slogan Sunday, and I'm talking about, I'll just do the Bible. Out of sight, out of mind. The Bible out of sight is not in my mind. Out of mind, out of sight. If it's not in my mind, I can't see right.
Oh, wow.
You see what I'm saying? And until people come back home to God and forget these patent prayers and all of this, that we can control God. We can't control God. God does what he wants to do. What make us think we can control God?
Right.
Rain stop. How are we going to tell the rain to stop? Angels come from the east and north. How can we go tell God how to dispatch his army of angels? Think about it.
Right.
We have got beside ourselves on this earth. And when you try to share with people want to, there's another thing that people want. I know it's time for us to quit. There's another thing people want. They want God to pay the debt for their sin, but they don't want the penalty of sin, but they want to continue to be sin. People want to continue to sin, but they don't want the consequences of sin. Oh, I can do what I want to do. It ain't no big deal. So we got all this going on. People doing what they want to do. And then another part of this thing we're talking about is lying. The people are lying, and it's sad when we can say it's raining outside, and you tell me it's not raining. Somebody just turned the faucet on. It's raining. Don't tell me I'm looking at something if the sky is cloudy. Oh, it's not cloudy. I'm looking at it. Just the natural things. There's a pandemic spirit virus that is running rampant on this earth called the spirit of lying. Tell a lie and make it sound like the truth. So we get addicted to that, and after a while, what happens to us, what is right is wrong, and what is wrong is right.
And that's what's going on.
And that's what's going on right now. And it's sad. And until humanity, I don't know about other people, no human is perfect, but we have to stop being fake. And one more thing, if we have a storm to come through here, it blasted in Indianapolis. Why do we talk like that? Why can't we say the storm was severe? Use some kind of confident words to express a devastating situation. Why we got to be like beasts when we explain everything? We got all this going on this earth. It's very deep and it's very concerning.
Yeah.
So I share with people around me, make sure you're close to God, because we never know when the time is up or when we're going to leave this earth, and we want to leave this earth right, because there is judgment on no matter. And everybody don't walk through the pearly gates. No gardener take rotten tomatoes and rotten fruit and vegetables into his or her home.
Right.
And God doesn't take anything rotten into him. That's why he said, had Jesus prayed the priestly prayer, St. John 17, sanctify them with this truth. That means I got to clean my inside up. I just clean my outside up. I got to clean, my inside got to be clean. I got to have a workman inside of me who can get inside of me with that oxygen, inhale and exhale and all of that. Go ahead.
Amen, amen. We just received the signal. Well said words. We want to continue to address this issue, not only within the church but within our community, because it's a problem and it's stunting our growth as believers and as progression of a community of people. And we want y'all to continue to like and share on Facebook and YouTube. And Apple Podcasts. I believe we could continue to say Apple Podcasts. We're here live in person Sunday mornings at 10:30 a.m. And we're on Facebook at 10:30 a.m. And if you're looking for a church home, be sure to visit us at 1402 North Bellevue Place, Indianapolis, Indiana 46222. And we'll be here to welcome you with open arms. And Bishop would love to minister to you on Sunday mornings. Yes,
sir. Thank you, Elder Bryan. I was just pondering when you was talking. I said, we done messed this earth up. We got all kinds of dramatic things, earth warming and all of this going on. Whatever we done did, I'd be devastatedly messed this up. So why we want to go to Mars and mess that up? We're the same folks. Why we want to go to another planet, spinning in orbit in the universe, and we carry the same behavior there? It's the same thing. So it doesn't make sense to me. Why would I want to move from the east side that I messed up to the north side of a city? I'm the same person. The enemy can't do nothing with this earth unless he uses a human. Until we come back to the reality of what we're dealing with, we don't get no better. We're trying to fix it. Why we want to fix something when we're messing it up while we fix it? It doesn't make sense. We got to come back home to the owner. I'm not the owner. You're not the owner. No human is the owner. We think we're the owner. When you leave here, it's still going on.
That's true.
So we need to wake up. We walking in darkness and in sleep, speaking in general as far as humanity on this earth, and it's getting worse. And I don't know about anybody else, but we got to pray and start teaching and sharing. And those that receive, they receive, and those that reject, reject. That's their choice. We're free moral agents. We have a right to choose.
That's right.
You not choose which hotel I want to live in when I leave here. Heaven's hotel or hell's hotel.
Amen.
God bless everybody. Be blessed.
God
Go
bless.
in peace.
Keep praying.
Yes, sir.